Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.
All right. Very excited to have Marcus Thompson from The Athletic, famed writer on the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast, writer of books, writer of articles, and OG covering the NBA. Mentioned on The Herd yesterday that you don't have an MVP vote, which I think is egregious.
You know, I just got to grow up. You know what I'm saying? I got to get good enough to feel worthy of MVP. For you, it's my fault. Let me tell you why it's my fault.
Okay.
Because when I had one when I was a beat writer, I didn't value it. Like I valued it, but I waited to the last minute. I should have valued it more when I had it. And you know what they say? You don't appreciate what you have until it's gone.
They do say that.
So yeah, I'm gonna put that on me. That it's my fault. I didn't value it when I had one. And I wasn't making it up, but it's oh yeah, last minute. All right, let me focus on the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. But I spend more time thinking and talking about MVP now than when I actually had the vote.
Well, I feel like the MVP, I don't know that it's changed, but the conversation around the MVP definitely changes every single year as far as what the criteria is. The year that Russ won it was I feel like we talked about it every day.
Yes.
And this year we haven't really talked about it that much. It's certainly not at the level that we did for Russ, even for Giannis. It's just become one of those things where the definition of what the MVP is really dictated on the stories and the narrative. And that kind of bothers me. If it's the best statistical season for the player with the best record and best statistical season, just have it be that every single year. But the criteria changes. So you said on The Herd that, who are you going with?
Well, who did I say? I said I would go with Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, you said you were going with Jokic. Yes, you did.
I think I was going Nikola because if I said Steph, then I'm just a homer. You wrote his book. Actually, Jokic is the MVP, and I'm swept up in the narrative, right? But here's why you're right. It's not even just that there are 4 or 5 parameters, right? It's best player on the best season, best player, best statistical year, who's doing something outstanding, which is why Russ won, right? The year he won, he said the triple-double thing. So it's all these parameters. The crazy part is each voter gets to choose their parameter. So it's not even every year we're saying, all right, this year is going to be about statistical dominance. It's half the voters will say statistical dominance. Half the voters are going to vote for, the best record. And it just changed. You don't even know what it is. You kind of have to have your own ethics about it. And everybody does that. So that's why it's kind of weird. I would be totally loyal to Damian Lillard or Steph Curry if I had a vote, but the logic in me says we haven't seen Jokic do what he's done, and this is now it's the battle between eye test and analytics, right? That's what we're talking about. The reason we are talking about it is because Jokic ain't the sexy name, and people don't even know how to say it.
He isn't sexy. He's having an incredible season, but they're the 3 seed,
right?
And I mean, would they be in the playoffs if he wasn't there? I think they would. So what is valuable? I think that's the question around the award. And to me, that's what's taken away from the luster of the MVP award in the NBA is that it changes every single year. The definition of what value is it's like the best story award. That's
a lot of it has to do with narrative. I mean, the truth is LeBron should have about 10 of these things.
Of course.
George should have had 10 of these things. We all know we all know who the best player is, but it's, voted Giannis. Giannis ain't even in a discussion. He's having one of his best years, but he's basically banned because he's already won it twice. You know what I'm saying? So there's these unwritten rules. It is kind of a mess, right? It's all finals MVP is worse. It's 10 dudes who vote on Finals MVP. They just walk by.
I feel like Finals MVP usually gets it right though.
It's 11 dudes. Like it's 11 people who get to vote on it. It's not like an exhaustive debate. And then they hand you a sheet of paper in the fourth quarter of the deciding game, and you got to like write it in on the spot. Like that that's to me that's the most janky one. I was
It
like,
does
this
sound
how it
janky.
goes down? It's like, yo, just somebody come hand you a piece of paper, and everybody doesn't get it. It's just like, yo, oh, you get the vote, right? You one of the people who get the vote, so you'll get your sheet on a row where everybody looking at you like, how come you get the vote? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so then you gotta like write in your vote, people looking over your shoulder, oh, you wasted the vote. And that the reason that's weird because it's hard not to get swept up in a narrative on that. Like
Yeah.
you're doing it public. It's like, okay, everybody's saying this, so let's do this, right? So it's kind of MVP is the jankiest setup to me. I just think you need more people. Like number one, you need more people.
So this has probably been my favorite year of Steph's career because everybody doubted Steph at the beginning of the season. There's all this talk about how, he's not going to be able to carry them and, just a little bit of Steph hate, which I get. I'm not a hater, so I don't participate in that. I think Steph's always been a dynamic player that is fun to watch. And I think some people like to marginalize him because, he's a babyface assassin. You want to think of sports as like tough and, all his facial hair or whatever. And
big facts.
And that's not what Steph is. Although I will say, when it comes to the NBA in general, and this is just a side note because I'm arguing about alpha and beta males on Twitter today. If Steph ran full speed into like 90% of the men in existence, like in the United States of America, it would knock you on your ass and you would have bruises all over your body for the next week. Like Steph bangs around with giant ass men with no pads on their body day in and day out for decades. So he is tougher than you, even if he doesn't look it. That aside, this has been my favorite year of Steph's career. When you look at this year and everything that's happened and him getting them into the play-in tournament, they play tomorrow night against the Lakers. How do you view this year as far as how it contributes to Steph's legacy?
I definitely think it's his most gangster, right? It's his most like, what was you saying? Like it was, well, what did you have to say type year? It's funny too. You bring up an excellent point about how we just like our sports stars. Like we want a little bit of poverty mixed in. Like Steph got 2 MVPs, 3 championships, and he carried a bad team to the 8th seed. And everybody's like, "Yo, this is the Steph I like, the gangster Steph, right? To take on the world." It's weird because I think he had to get here. That's why I like this. He had to get here mentally. He had to get to a place where he felt like, "Yo, this is winning." Because Steph is going to do whatever it takes to win. That's his thing. Like his daddy taught him that. It's all about winning. But he's had a problem with this idea of him being the central force. The Warriors kind of like, they turn their nose up a little bit at this type of play. Like they don't think this is winning basketball. So for Steph to like do it is him changing his mindset. Steph's like, yo, all right, I'm gonna be a gangster this year. Like he literally said, I'm the MVP. Like, who is this dude now, right? He got muscle, like he talking crazy. That's why I like this stuff, because he finally is gangster. I've been kind of wishing for this, because behind the scenes when you talk to him, Steph is down for a little banter, right? But then he goes public and he's very, he crafts his image. He wants to be clean and professional. And I think he's getting older now. He got hella kids. So he like, yo, I'm a grown man. I got a wife and kids. Maybe I don't need to like hold back as much. So I hope this is the beginning of like petty Steph who don't care, who going for the throw. Like we saw with Kobe, right? Kobe got to that point in his life where he was like, yo, I don't care. I'm saying it. And if we get that with Steph coming through, like 35-year-old Steph who will hit a 30-footer in your face and talk crazy about it in the post game, I'm here for all of that. So I love the gangster of Steph this year, because normally Draymond is his gangster. Draymond is the hype dude who talk ahead on his behalf. But Steph is like, nah, I can kind of do it myself now. So that's why I love it. You're so right. We love that about our athletes, right? That's what we want.
Well, I call it struggle competition.
Yes, it's a struggle. That's literally what it is. We feel better when they struggle.
Well, I mean, it's just a thing that permeates throughout the culture, right? Like, I don't think it's necessarily, I don't know. I don't know that you see it so much amongst white people, but it is a thing where like it's like if you had, you know, an NBA father, you know, you didn't have it as rough as everybody else. So
Talk
how,
that talk,
you know,
Joe. You own
how,
it. You own it.
how tough can you really be? How gangster can you really be? And why do you have to, you know, you have to be gangster, right? Like you have to have that edge to you in order to get the respect in certain situations. So
No question.
And then it's like levels, like, well, you know, maybe you had a rough childhood, but you didn't gangbang. And then maybe you gangbang, but you ain't really, you know, it's just, you know, what I'm talking
Really
about.
out there.
It's like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all, it's like levels and levels and levels. And then like, you know, God forbid you go corporate. So Steph has always faced that kind of, I think, judgment,
backlash. Yeah,
right? Judgment or like preconceived assumptions about who he is. And I'm not saying Steph is an actual gangster. Obviously, no one's saying that. But his level of play has superseded that for the most part until this year. I think I agree with you. This has been a gangster year for Steph.
It's actually the funny part is because he's dealt with it all his life, on top of like having NBA parents, on top of always being like super little, right? Steph was little coming up. Like he would wear a medium jersey and that thing was hanging off like curtains, right? And then he's light skinned, right? He's the little pretty boy, young face, lightweight. Like he's a mark. When you're playing hoop growing up, like he's a mark. It's like, yo, I'm about to bully this dude. He's been dealing with that so much all his life that I think it has made him like a gangster. He does have that in him where you just don't see it with Steph. Like you see it in Russell Westbrook. Like he's coming for your neck.
Right.
Steph is too. He just gonna dance after he do it, right? It ain't go like he gonna sneak up on you. It ain't gonna be like I'm coming for you. It's gonna be like, hey man, it's great. It's wonderful playing with you. I love the competition. This is beautiful. This is what it's all about. I'm about to drop 60 on you in front of your whole family. But like, yo, I just love the spirit, right? Like it's just so different. I had a player tell me like Steph more gangster than a lot of these dudes because he's been dealing with this all his life. Like
yeah, it makes sense.
every step he had to go to the hood to play hoop. Can you imagine this rich kid from the other side of the tracks with daddy NBA going to the good ball across the tracks in the hood? You don't survive that if you're not gangster, right? You start playing lacrosse.
And if you're not good.
Yes,
great,
absolutely. You
great. Good is not the right adjective. Great.
Yeah, you gotta be great. Clay's the same way, by the way. Like he's, you know, dad in the NBA.
Yeah, but Clay, I think because Clay is known for being such a great defender.
Yeah,
I don't know that Clay faces it as much.
Nah,
yeah, I don't know if he gets
big.
it as much as Steph.
He's got the physical part. Like Clay's big. Like he's 6'7". He's thick dude. You right though. People, I remember my wife is like 5'1", and she met Steph and she was surprised at how big he was. Like, yo, he's tall. It's like, yo, this dude's in the NBA. Like he's little next to the 7-footer, but I looked up at Steph. He's tall. Like he's not a little dude. Like he's actually a sizable guy.
Yeah, he looks small next to guys who are 7'2".
Yeah.
And 6'9".
He looks small next to Bron, but like next to a dude in Starbucks, like you Steph's gonna be like, yo, who's that dude? Where he play? And then he's like this physical freak, right? Like Steph, one of the people who can't not work out. So he's like this physically, like his endurance is crazy. He's gonna be one of the dudes who's 75, like in leotards, riding the cycle up a hill, right? You're honking for him to get out the way, but he's like, yo, I gotta climb this mountain. Like that's Steph. So he's 6'3". He's like physically ridiculous, and they've been trying to bully him all his life. Like he's kind of built for this.
Marcus is the author of the best-selling biography Golden: The Miraculous Rise of Steph Curry, so he does know what he's talking about when it comes to Steph. So go check that out as well. Yeah, I mean that's I think when it really opened my eyes to how big and physical NBA players are. I went to the run, Rico's run at UCLA.
Rico Hines,
yeah, and everyone was there. I mean, Russ, Harden, LeBron, everybody. And it's one thing when you're like sitting courtside or you go to a game or you watch a game and like, you know, they look big, but when you're there, when you're like 3 feet away.
Yeah. Like literally standing on the sidelines. Yeah.
I was just sitting there laughing like any of these little LA fitness dudes would come in here and get their whole shit smacked so quick, like not just by accident, just like by Rush
No
just
question.
accidentally turning around too fast, let alone take a charge from one of these guys. Your whole life would be destroyed. So it always makes me laugh. Like these guys are much tougher and bigger and stronger than you think.
Joey, I was in college in Atlanta, and we were playing at the run and shoot. This is where I learned this lesson. We were playing at the run and shoot. And there was this one dude in here, yo. He was miles, like he was just killing. Nobody could guard. Nobody could do anything with him. He's just bullying everybody. About 6'5", strong, like clearly the best player in the gym. And the sports reporter in me afterwards, I'm like, yo, so where you play? This dude said some like Division II school. I was like, we just got bodied by a dude in Division II. Like, what happens if we get a G leaguer in here, right? Like, what? The level they are on is so far and above what normal people are. I understand why we can't even fathom it. Like, you kind of got to experience it to really grasp it.
You do. It was a privilege. I can acknowledge that. It was a privilege to see that in person, because I don't think that way because I'm 5'2", so everyone is big to me. But I love like hearing how guys like calling them busters and they're not tough. Like, please stop. Just you have no concept of how.
Yo, but you got 6'3" heart though. You know what I'm saying?
People tell me all the time when they meet me that they're like, I thought you were much taller. Like, I thought you were much bigger than you are. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's because I talk shit all day long. So people think I'm bigger, but I will also throw hands if necessary. So it's fine. That's why I feel comfortable.
Heart, baby. 5'2" frame, 6'3" heart. Let's go.
Speaking of LeBron James, who is normally Superman, has been banged up all season, and I don't make it a habit of picking against LeBron very often anymore, but Lakers fans have this, I think, irrational confidence in the state.
Hold on, are you sure, Lakers fans? Are you positive?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out Lakers fans because I'm relatively new to LA. I've only been here 5 years, a little over 5 years, so I'm still kind of absorbing the Lakers fan culture. And like every time I poke the bear with Lakers fans, I'm like, oh, like y'all really are not paying attention. Like LeBron he just rolled his ankle again. And like, I get it. LeBron is never injured because he takes immaculate care of his body, but he has been playing for quite a long time now. We know Anthony Davis is fragile. So that's not even worth discussing. I don't know that I see the Lakers being healthy all the way through to the finals. Is that fair? Because I feel like I'm getting this reaction like the Lakers are healthy right now. I'm like, they're not healthy.
Well, I will tell you this. I ain't falling for LeBron. I feel like it's a banana in a tailpipe. Like, really? this dude, man, playoff LeBron, I've seen it too much. Like,
that part, yeah.
He busted his head on the camera. He had cramps. Like, the dude is going to perform in the playoffs. Anthony Davis, though, Anthony Davis is one of them. Like, here's why it's different.
He's never missed a playoff game, though.
He's never missed a playoff game, but he has been limited in playoff games, right? You could see him not kind of perform, whereas LeBron's gonna perform. The part that's troubling is they're coming from the back of the pack. This is not like 1 seed, we could chill. Like, they might have to get through the Warriors, Phoenix, the Clippers, right? Like Utah, like this won't be easy. And then you end up playing Brooklyn in the finals, right?
Right.
Like this road is different. But like for me, this feels like a setup. LeBron's gonna win a championship, and then he's gonna call it the toughest road in NBA history.
It will be though.
I'm saying, like, how
no 7 seed, right? No 7 seed has ever won
That's what I'm
NBA
saying.
championship.
Like, this is set up for LeBron to do it. Like, I feel like, especially out here in the Bay, everybody's like, I don't know. Steph gonna drop 60. And it's like, listen, I just got to see LeBron limp off the court in the playoff. I just got to see it to believe it. This dude is like, he's superhuman.
I'm with you because he always does it. And maybe it's not even that I'm nervous about LeBron. It might be Anthony Davis and the rest of the team, and it's because they are now in the play-in game without LeBron and AD out there that is making me nervous because it's a long road to the finals.
That's where you own it. Like, this is think about it. Their first round series is Phoenix. It's not like some like hack of a franchise. It's not like Memphis, you know what I'm saying, or the Warriors, where if you just stop Steph, you're gonna win, right? Like it's not that.
Right.
It's Phoenix. It's Chris Paul, who probably the hungriest dude in the NBA, right? Like it's a team that's really well constructed, got size, can play. Like that's your first round opponent. Like this year's, you're not wrong for worrying about LeBron. It's just that I feel like somebody's playing me. I feel like Ashton Kutcher's about to jump out somewhere and be
Where
like,
I'm pumped.
you thought LeBron was.
It's
And
not
see,
so much LeBron. I know
yeah, it's
what we get from
AD. I'll
Anthony
trust AD.
Davis.
I'll
And
trust
I
AD.
don't, I like with LeBron, I'll say it this way. I don't trust AD. Obviously, we can't trust the rest of the squad without LeBron or AD out
Oh,
there.
you're not
So,
riding with Andre Drummond? Is that what you're saying? You saying
look,
Andre Drummond ain't the answer? I'm
I
with
mean,
you if that's what
they're
you're
in the
saying.
playing game for a reason. They're in the playing game for a reason. So, I mean, that's what it is. So, I mean, dude, I'm sure Lakers fans don't feel good if LeBron and AD can't be out there for a series with their chances. So, if LeBron has to carry them, coming off of a season where he was injured for, out for 27 games, that's the concern
That is
that
a
I
concern.
have.
And he might have to though. That's the problem. He might literally have to say, "All right, y'all, get on my back." And the whole point of AD was for him to not have to do that, right?
I
So
don't
it'd be
know
like,
why did anybody think that? I still can't figure that out. And I like AD a lot. He's obviously a great player. But
no,
why
he's
did
incredible when he's
anyone
healthy.
Okay, but he's always injured. What
Yes,
about
I'm
like
with you on
I
this.
hate when we go against like actual facts. I'm a very logical person. I do a lot of illogical because I can't help myself, but I do like to like evaluate things from an actual fact basis. Like what is this? What is this? Anthony Davis is always hurt. So where did the narrative come from that like AD was going to like take over the Lakers from LeBron?
Yeah, I don't. He's just not an A1 dude.
No.
Like he's not an A1 dude that's gonna get you a championship, right?
And there's nothing wrong with
There's
that.
nothing wrong with that.
There's
It's
all
great.
kinds
There's
of players
nothing
that
wrong with
aren't that are all-time greats, but like that's
yes,
not
no
what
question.
he is.
No
That's
question. Klay Thompson is the same way. Klay Thompson might be the best, like second player of all time. Like you give Klay Thompson a team, you'll be a good team, right? But he's not gonna carry you to a title. It's just not his game. AD is kind of the same way. And if LeBron's got to do that and be like, remember when in the finals when they're playing the Warriors, he's dropping like 40-point triple doubles and it don't even matter. Like if he's got to play like that for them to win, then I have a concern. But that team, they are pretty deep and they're athletic and they're veterans. They do have experience. So in the end, he might not have to do so much, but if he does, and look, high ankle sprains is not an ankle sprain. This is a different monster. Like this is he should sit out for 2 weeks. Well, he kind of did, but he might need to sit out for 2 more weeks, right, to get it together, especially if he did really retweak it in the finale. But I just can't buy it. Like Anthony Davis is a concern. The moment I say, watch out for LeBron, is the moment he's gonna drop the 50-point triple double and I'm gonna look like an idiot.
Yeah, it's fair.
I've been here before.
It's fair. I understand your apprehension. So let's go to the East. I've loved the Nets. I'm a story person, so I like the Heat are my team, but I can appreciate a great story. And I also am way into player empowerment.
So you into the first round there? Let's go.
Oh
Heat
yeah,
Bucks baby.
Oh, Heat are definitely winning that series. 100%.
If y'all take Giannis' heart on this one, like this is like his whole legacy is on the line.
I can't wait. Giannis must win this series. He must win this series.
Giannis is gonna win this series. I gotta believe this dude is too great to lose to the Heat in the first round.
I do not. I'm just saying that because I'm a Heat fan. But the Nets story, I love. I love KD. I didn't really like Harden's game, but I love it with the Nets. And I think Kyrie gets just like way more hate than is necessary. I think that the whole experiment is so interesting, but it does concern me because I fell for the Clippers last year. And I don't know that them having that little amount of time together in the regular season will translate to a long playoff run. Like I think they'll roll through the first two series just because they do have that much talent, but 7 games together, and then you get into crunch time in a game 6 or 7 against a team that has chemistry and has been there before. How much does that play in to you?
Yeah, it's huge. I'm with you. Like, and then after the Clippers lost, what were they saying? It was like we didn't get that much time together.
Right.
But that's literally what they pointed to. I'm with you. I actually didn't think this would work with Brooklyn. I
You
didn't think.
didn't?
I didn't. I didn't. I felt like they got too many dudes who go ISO. And the difference is, I didn't know James Harden would be this James Harden, right? Like he basically decided to be a completely different player. It was like, all right, I'll play this way, which is incredible. And that's why I believe in this team because KD could play whatever way, right? And the part that you don't have with Milwaukee, that you don't know if you have with Philly, is you need a closer. And them dudes got three of them. Like it's almost not fair. Like if you played the best defense of your life, what you hold them to 115? Like that's why it's not fair. I do think see if Miami is a scary team that you don't want to face. But I wonder if they did make it, they probably Jimmy Butler's probably going to be out of gas, right? Like we saw him gassed at the end because again they need that second dude who could like take over. Maybe Bam is ready for that next level. The team I could see giving them problems is Philly,
Yeah.
just because they can counter. You can't beat Brooklyn at their strength. You just can't do it. You can't do it. Like this is James Harden,
But
Kyrie,
Philly
and
can be
KD.
physical.
Philly can counter it. They're like, all right, you're gonna be on the perimeter. We about to bully you down low. They
Yeah.
could literally do that. So they at least have a strength against Brooklyn. Is it enough? I don't know. I know KD is hungry, right? And KD got a lot to prove. And I wouldn't be voting against KD in these environments, right? Where he's got to win a championship. He's got to. He literally left the dynasty. So his whole name is on the line. And the dude scores like a point a minute, right? Like it's ridiculous how he just rolls out and gets 70. That team is so scary to me. Like I don't know how you guard them. You gotta hope that Kyrie is distracted, that James Harden tires out, right? And somehow gets, PTSD and thinks he's got Eric Gordon around him again and starts chucking, right? Like he's like, yo, I'm back at Houston. But then you still got to deal with KD. That I don't know how you deal with that. I literally did not believe in this team. I was like, this is not gonna work. It's too much. And
See,
then they go out
I
and you
thought
can't
it was
guard
going to
them.
work. I thought it was going to work when it was just KD and Kyrie because I
Yes.
felt like because KD was injured for as long as he was, everyone forgot who Kevin Durant is, which is like out of sight, out of mind. It's understandable. There's a lot going on. We got phones. We're very distracted. But people would talk about Kevin Durant like he wasn't Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, Kevin Durant is going to come back and be just as good as he was when he left. If you forgot how good he was before he got injured, go back and watch some tape.
Just go watch that finals when he got
like,
hurt. Like
what are you talking
over.
about? He's the second best player on the planet when he's healthy. Period. So if he's a winner, he's proven that. Whether you want to give him credit to Golden State or whatever, I'm not getting into all that.
Dude's a winner, man.
He's a winner.
That dude's a winner.
So
yeah.
I liked it when it was him and Kyrie. I was with you. I didn't know how Harden was going to work, and I'm very impressed with what he's done.
Especially since he made the move from the club, right? Like Harden's in the club with the baby and all this, and I'm like, this dude ain't about no unselfish life. But he completely proved me wrong.
Oh, I hate it. He shut me up because I hated the way he left Houston. Hated it. I thought it was, and I'm not like a take yourself very seriously person, but I just thought it was super unprofessional. Like, what are you doing? And on top of that, we're in a pandemic. We're in a Patricia. Like, this is not what we're doing.
Yeah, but I'm a big Stephen Silas guy. That's my homie. So I felt really bad for Stephen Silas.
I think we've all moved on from it collectively, but it wasn't my favorite. So, okay. So before I let you go then, who do you think what player has the most pressure on them going into this NBA postseason?
I think it starts with Giannis. Like, this is literally his career. I mean, can you imagine if he loses to Miami, not in the East Finals, in the first round, it was like the basketball gods are like, nah, we're gonna run this back. we're gonna run this back. Like I feel like he is under tremendous pressure. And Miami is so tough because it's culture, man. Like it's not even just like players, it's culture. It's like you put in guys like Tyler Harrow and Duncan Robinson, who probably anywhere else ain't this good. But once they get into the culture, like you going against a culture, a legacy, like that's tough, man. It's the same with the Warriors, right? Like even though they aren't that good, you start getting into the system, and if you ain't on your game, they gonna torch you because they've been doing it for so long. For them, it's a mastery, right? Like so, like Giannis got to prove himself out the gate. Like that's kind of hardcore, right? So I'm putting him one. Now, if he gets past it, then it's like all right. But for him, it's finals or nothing, right? He's got to make the finals.
You know what? I feel like I say that every year, and every year they don't. And
but he got Drew now. They gave some help. He got Drew Holiday. And look, I actually think more of it is on Mike Budenholzer than Giannis. Like this dude's got him. Like he's getting the pass like out of this world. But like, look, maybe he plays Brooklyn East Finals. He puts up a good showing, and KD like beats him in the end. Like that's respectable. Like he can't, like there's no L for him. Like what? I mean, there's no like fall off for him. It's like gotta make the finals or at least impress the hell out of us because you've done everything else, right? And that's a lot of pressure. Like LeBron has already done it all. Steph, people know who he is. Like, KD, people know who he is. Like maybe Harden has some pressure. Who's number 2 on my list? I'm glad you 2 on my list. Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the greatest probably.
He's my MVP this year.
Yeah, he's one of the great point guards of a generation for sure. Definitely all time. And he just needs this one piece. Like he's gotta, like he needs it. He's hungry. Dude had basically a 50-40-90 year. Like hungry Chris Paul is gonna be a problem. But a lot is riding on it. If he could take Phoenix, and maybe he doesn't need to make the finals, but just further to what they're supposed to go, right? He needs something major.
They might get the Lakers in the first round.
This is why, look, you come out here trying to say you gangster. The basketball guys are checking for your heart. Like, yo, Giannis. Oh, Giannis, you nice? All right, Heat first round. Oh, Chris Paul, you really got Phoenix ready? All right, go ahead. You get LeBron first round, right? Clippers, you trying to duck the Lakers? All right, we're gonna give you Dame, who you was talking head to last year, right?
The Clippers, to me, I'm salty at the Clippers because I don't like when teams that I don't traditionally root for make me look like a liar. And I was like, no, the Clippers got it because I love Kawhi. So I'm like, the Clippers got it. They got it figured out. And they did not. And so now I'm like, I probably overcorrected. But that move to duck the Lakers, they better do some winning. You don't bounce back from that.
I don't know. I like that move, yo. I like self-awareness, Joy. Listen,
I don't hate it.
I
like strategy. But all I'm saying is you better win now.
Yeah, no, you can't be struggling.
Like, what would you do? What happens if you lose in the first round?
Yeah, you can't.
Forever.
But what's worse, I guess, them losing like to Portland in the first round or losing to the Lakers in the first round?
I think losing to Portland in the first round.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, at least it would be the Lakers, right?
Right now, you're already baby brother to the Lakers. So, if it goes 7 games or whatever and it's close and, like that, like, I mean, if you get swept by the Lakers or something, like, obviously that's terrible. But if you duck the Lakers and then you lose in the first round, ooh, no.
Yeah. Either way, if you lose in the first round, that team get blown up. At what point does Kawhi like, man, I don't need this in my life. I'm out.
I mean, yeah, it's not gonna be a good look.
I like that. Smart move, Clippers. Don't be trying to be too tough and jump it already in the first round. You don't want to see LeBron in the first round. Build up some momentum, get your lives together, and then save them. Like I like that move. That was strategy right there. This chess. It ain't checkers.
Luck favors the prepared. I don't hate it.
You know what I'm saying?
All I'm saying is chess. Now you better win. Like you better not fall apart. Even if you make it past the first round, you better not fall apart in the second round.
Joy, let me tell you, They bet Dame, bet they bet not lose to Dame. I'm gonna be in these streets, boy. Ooh, they bet the town about to be so. You better not lose to Dame. That's all I gotta say. You better not lose to Dame because whoo. Oakland dudes are already out of control anyway. Can you imagine if Dame pull this? Oh, we about to go nuts. Do not lose to Dame. That's my message to the Clippers. Do not lose to
I'm
Dame.
very excited for this. I think I'm more excited for this NBA postseason than one that I have been in a while, just because it feels like every team is flawed. Even the quote unquote super teams with the Lakers and the Nets are coming in with very significant questions about what they are capable of when going all the way through the playoffs into the finals. And that makes it fun because fans are always screaming and hollering about super teams and parity and it's not fair. Well, this year,
you got it. You got what you want. Yeah,
like
you got what you want.
You got everybody has a flaw. It's anybody. Everyone has an opportunity. Even with the playing game, you got the Lakers and the Warriors in the playing games. So you can.
Are you a playing game fan, by the way? Where you stand on playing?
I like it. It's a little, it's a little collegey. But I think it gives people it gives a few more fan bases some hope, which I think is good for the business side.
I was watching the Kings
basketball
game late in the season and it mattered. The last time that happened, the Kings game late in the season, I was like, look at the Kings out here playing their little hearts out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that matters. I think it helps the business side of basketball, especially because the NBA regular season is long, and it gets tedious, and every game doesn't matter here and there. So I think it prolongs how long, to your point, teams who are on the fringe are playing hard to get into the play-in tournament. I mean, it sucks for a team like the Lakers, but them's the breaks. Like, if the rest of your squad was as good without the stars, then they would not be in the situation. So
that's the problem. The problem is if the Lakers beat the Warriors, right, which is very likely, and then Steph tweaks his ankle or Draymond tweaks his ankle in the next game, and the Warriors lose, and now they're out, and you missed out on one of the big draws. Like that happened, play ain't gonna be done. Like we're like, we're not doing this again.
Well, I mean, I don't know with the Warriors because no one really expected much from the Warriors.
Yeah, but if you could get Steph in the playoffs,
if you can, it's a bonus. Yeah, but I don't know that the Warriors losing this year would kill it. If that happens to the Lakers, it's
imagine that. Like Steph goes off for 60.
No, it's my worst.
LeBron tweaks his ankle against Memphis, and they somehow get upset.
It's a significant fear. It's the same anxiety because look, at the end of the day, I'm all for the people, and I don't support the man, but the man does pay my bills, and I don't want an NBA postseason with no LeBron. That is not what anybody wants. I'm sorry. So it's that feeling like remember when Jacksonville was in the AFC Championship game?
Yes.
I was like, boy,
like, what are we doing here?
When I tell you Jacksonville better lose this game, we cannot have a Jacksonville Super Bowl. No disrespect to Jacksonville, but that's just not enough. That's not enough eyeballs.
It's the 48 market in the it's in the number 48 market. That's not really it.
Good, just can't be that good. So we gotta make sure the Lakers are in. So I'm with you. If the Lakers somehow couple bad breaks
they don't get in over. Well, if LeBron don't like it that much, then maybe he should, limp off the court and really end the play-in game. Then maybe he should be like, you know what? My ankle, I'm out, and then just kill the whole play-in thing.
I don't think he's gonna do that.
He can't do that.
But that would
gotta
be
get
it,
a championship.
Though.
He got to get a championship. I
think
Lakers
the team.
next?
I don't know that there's any. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe this is a bad read by me. But because every team is so flawed, if the Lakers didn't win a championship this year, I don't know that it would hurt.
No, it wouldn't hurt. But he wants to be able to say I had.
No, he wants to.
Ever.
No, of course he wants to.
Yeah.
He wants to, but I don't think anyone will hold it against him because it's just like
he's
one
LeBron.
Of those seasons.
Anybody talking crazy about LeBron, just haters. Like, this dude has already proved everything.
Also, I don't know that they would hold against the Nets either because there's been so many injuries. It's a very unique year. Like, normally there's a clear-cut favorite, and if everyone's mostly healthy throughout the season, it's like, all right, pressure's on, you got to do this. This year, if it was a more random team or a lower seed that won the championship, it's kind of similar to last year. I don't know that anyone would really freak out like that. Like, I don't
Nah,
think it's going to be one of those
it's a
years.
shortened season too. It's all condensed, right? We've had a
Yeah.
lot of injuries. Like, yeah, we'll look back on this as a just a weird part of the whole pandemic stretch. No
Yeah, I
question
think
about it.
it'll be a bit of an outlier
You're just
season.
trying to set it up so Miami wins it. I see what you're doing. You ain't slick. Miami in the finals. I know what's gonna happen. I know what you're saying. I feel you. I peep game.
I don't know what you're talking
And
about.
Udonis Haslem. I understand. I know what's going
UD,
on. UD.
OG.
You watch. Hey, who talking crazy to Udonis Haslem though? Like, why are you hate yourself?
I don't have an answer for that.
I'll just be like, hey, man, it's very nice to meet you, sir.
It's
Good
not
man.
it's
I'm
not a
not fooling
logical
with that.
approach.
I'm not fooling with that dude.
It's not something I would recommend. Not on my
That's
list of
self hatred right
recommendations.
there. That's some real self hatred.
Lost souls out here. Marcus, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you follow him on social media, on Twitter, Thompson Scribe. Check out his many books and articles for The Athletic. Get out and get some sun today. I know it's nice up there in the Bay.
It's about to go down in these streets. You too, by the way.
I'm gonna get out and get some lunch or something, but it's sunny every day in Southern California. You know,
Hey,
we live the good life down here.
We gotta floss for the rest of the nation who don't know about this Cali weather. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta troll them. It's beautiful outside. We about to get outside.
I mean, it's May. It's May 18th. It's pretty nice everywhere now.
Yeah, so save it for December is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. Flex when like half the country is in snow and sleet.
That's I'm with you. I'll save it. I'm about to hit these streets though. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Enjoy the playoffs.
Anytime you need me, let's do it.